At least I'll say I did it. All right. So we're recording. Okay. So before I get into today, in terms of what's going on in the world of trying to be more profitable and things along those lines, I did want to bring up a couple things. And actually, it seems pretty fitting given what we got going on here. So today is May 3rd, which means we're 4 months out, which means that a third of the year is gone for 2021. So pretty amazing. Feels like we've been dealing with this COVID thing for a while, and here we are, 4 months of the year gone, 1/3 of the year. So pretty wild stuff. So I want you to kind of write down a couple things, though, in terms of that. So number one, I wrote down is, when's the last time you actually looked at your goals and your business plan for 2021? For some of you, it will be, I look at them every day. All right. Some of you, it will be, head up, baby. There's Tim. Tim's got it. Some of you will tell me, well, I haven't looked at it since January. Okay, that's not good. And some of you are going to say, I never completed them. So that's also not good. Okay. But I asked this because we're a third of the way gone of the year, which means, yes, you still have 2/3 of the year to go, but the year's moving. So if you're looking at your goals every day, great. If you haven't looked at your goals or looked at your business plan, I recommend you pull them out and take a look at them, because you need to see where you are with your goals in terms of the year, because time is moving. So are you 1/3 of the way towards your goals, whatever that may be? And for everything, number of units, money, books you want to read, scripts you want to learn, all these other different things. Are you 1/3 of the way there? If you are 1/3 of the way or beyond that, don't take that sigh, right? That, all right, I can relax, I'm on track. Don't do that, because then our next conversation is going to be, hey, you're halfway through the year and you're like, shit, I'm behind. Right? Don't take the sigh. Okay. Keep going, keep pushing. If you're behind, two thoughts. One, hey, you still have 8 months to go, so don't give up. But two, it's time to kick it into high gear to get some things going. So make sure you're taking a look at that. You don't want to lose track of that. The other thing I wanted to point out before we get started on everything else today on profit is really, it's kind of funny based on what we've had on Zoom today, the importance of what I'm about to say. As things start opening, right, and we start to get back to more of a quote unquote normal, it is more important for you to constantly look at what you're trying to accomplish this year. And for next year and the years beyond that is very, very important. Why? Because, LA County is about to hit the yellow tier. I think some of the other counties are either there or on their way. Okay. More and more things are going on. More and more things are opening up, which means you have more options. See, for some of us, it's been beneficial not being able to just go to a restaurant, go to the movies, go to the store, go do this. You haven't been able to do that. And for some people, that's worked out really well because you've just focused on work. But as things open up more, you're going to be pulled more towards, oh, come on, let's just go do this. You have to make sure you're on track with your goals and keeping that in front of you. Case in point, we have 20 people on Zoom right now. 21. We've had, we were at one point at open mic today, we had 17 people. So my fear, I talked to Neil about this, James and I talked about this, our fear is that as things start opening up, the options start opening and you're no longer going to be making the calls. You're no longer going to be hitting the doors. You're no longer going to be working on the scripts, because now you can go shopping. Now you can go to the restaurants. Now it's like, oh yeah, we can definitely take a 2 or 3 hour lunch because we can go sit down, have ourselves a drink, have a nice sit down meal. As things start opening up, you have to make sure you're looking at your goals. I'm not telling you not to go have fun. Okay. But I'm telling you, there are people missing today because it's a beautiful day out and things are reopening and they decided to not go to work today. Okay. So you've got to make sure that you're constantly looking at your goals to stay focused. I tell you, Saturday, I get it, it was a Saturday, not a weekday, but Saturday we were going out to dinner and we have a list of restaurants we like to go to. I'm not kidding. I went through about 25 different restaurants before we could find a reservation. Unless we wanted to have dinner at 9 o'clock at night or 4:30 in the afternoon. But, if you wanted to have dinner at a decent restaurant in LA Saturday at 6:30, 7 o'clock, it was work. It was work. So, again, it's good. It's a positive thing that things are opening and there's more stuff like that. But I just want to make sure that you're looking at your goals, looking at what you want to accomplish, because more and more people are going to be pulling you away from working and you're going to have more options to pull away. So just be careful, and it's getting nicer outside, and it just be careful of that. Be careful of that, because that stuff is real. All right. Very good. Very good. Very good. Okay. So let's jump into today. So today I want to talk about profit. Now, I joke about this all the time, but we're talking about profit today because we are in the for-profit business. Okay, that is the goal of this. The goal is not just to make money, it's to profit. Now, in sales, not just real estate, but in sales in general, typically we do not run a profit and loss statement. We just run a profit statement. Okay, well, I made $10,000 on this deal. Okay, how much money did you spend to get the deal? How much time did you spend on the deal to make that $10,000? Well, I don't care. I just got the $10,000. I've had this on coaching calls before. Get rid of this lead. It's going to drain your energy. 6 months later, Robert, we closed. I told you I made $10,000. Okay, let's do an hourly rate. Let's see how this played out for you for your $10,000. All right. So we're in the for-profit business. We have to work on becoming more profitable. So I wrote down a list of things here on how to become more profitable, not just gross, but earning. Okay. How much do you take home? I wrote down a list of things here. Now, but before I do that, here's why I think this is important. Okay. Other than just the obvious, profit is good. I remember having a conversation with an agent, and I've shared this story before, a conversation with an agent in our marketplace. We were having a recruiting conversation. And this agent, based on production, I won't say their name because I don't have permission to say that. But if you looked at their production, they're crushing it. They were probably making right around, I think at this time, this was a couple years ago, they were making about $500,000 in gross commission, right? So we're looking at this agent's crushing it. Man, they're making a fortune. This is fantastic. Well, so we dig a little deeper, have a conversation. Where's your business come from? All these other different things. So the agent's making about $40,000 a month in gross commission. They were spending, and I kid you not, they were openly honest about this. They were spending $35,000 a month for leads. It's a true story. True story. So we think this agent was this massive producer that we were gung-ho about getting, and like, man, they're crushing it. This is a top person. They were spending $35,000 a month in leads, and they were making $40,000 in return. Okay. So actually their profit was only $5,000 a month, even though when you look at the numbers, you're thinking this person's rich. So we have to look at not just what we're bringing in. We have to look at the expenses. We have to look at the profit, because there's two ways to become profitable: make more money and or cut the expenses. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today and things of what we can do. So here's the first thing I want you to do, though, is I want you to figure out what your hourly rate is. Oh, Robert, I don't have an hourly rate. I'm an independent contractor. That's true. Okay. But you still have an hourly rate. You still have an hourly rate. So here's how I want you to calculate your hourly rate. The first thing I want you to write down is, what is your income goal for the next 12 months? What is your income goal for the next 12 months? Okay. And let's label that A. Your income goal for the next 12 months. The second thing I want you to write down is an estimate of how many hours you will work over the next 12 months. And let's call that B. Now, be honest here, okay? And so what I mean by that is, let's say, for example, that you're going to work 42 weeks. And what I mean by work is, you're not counting vacation time. You're not counting if you're taking time off for the holidays. You know, if it used to be, you know, for like the Mike Ferry Superstar Retreat and things like that, if you were doing that, that was a whole week. You don't count that as a work week. Production retreat, things along those lines. So typically you have, you know, somewhere between 8 to 10 weeks, some of you are more, some of you are less, where you're really not working. So, and then figure out how many hours do you work a week? Be honest with yourself. Is it 40? Is it 50? Is it 20? Is it 30? Okay. You know, some of you are going to say 50, but it's more like 15. I'm just kidding. You know, that's, you know, no one said this can't be fun. All right. So figure out the hours you're going to work for the year. So let's say it was 42 weeks. So you take 42 weeks at 40 hours a week. That's 1,680 hours. Okay. So let's label that B. So A was your income goal for the next 12 months. B is the number of hours, estimate of hours that you're going to work over the next 12 months. Take the number of weeks, 42, 45, 40, 35, whatever, multiply that by the number of hours you work per week. So like 42 weeks at 40 hours, 1,680. So then what I want you to do is divide A and B. So take your income, divide that by the number of hours you were going to work, and that equals your hourly rate. So let's just say, for simple math, your goal was $10,000 a month. That's $120,000 a year, okay? And you were going to work 42 weeks at 40 hours is 1,680. So you have $120,000 divided by 1,680. That's $71.43 an hour in that particular case. Okay. If you're not caught up on that, just let me know. But now you have an hourly rate. That's your hourly rate. So now that you have an hourly rate, you can now understand the cost of time, the cost of not working, the cost of working, but not working efficiently, so on and so forth. Okay. So at $71 an hour in this particular case, whatever figure out your hourly rate. I pray that it's above minimum wage. That's my goal. Okay. My hope is that everyone's hourly rate is above minimum wage. Okay. Someone might say, my hourly rate, did I do this right? Because it says $7.25. Okay. We've got problems. Now, what you could do is take that hourly rate, multiply it by 8 hours. So now you have your daily rate. So let's say it was $71 an hour. 8 hours is $571 a day. So here's what you can do. Are there ever days when the alarm clock goes off and you don't feel like getting up to go to work? That happened to anyone? Just me? Goddamn liars. Thank you, Tim. All right. Everyone else is lying. All right. So whatever your daily rate is, put that next to your nightstand. So you wake up, the alarm clock goes off, right? And you say, gosh, I really don't feel like working today. And then right next to that nightstand, it says $571. That's how much money your daily rate is in this particular case. So if you don't go to work today, that's how much it cost you. $571 to get those extra few hours of sleep. Now, in some cases, that might be worth it. Sometimes you might need a day off and you're going, I'll risk the 570 or whatever the number is. Other times you might go, nah, I got to get $570. I got to get up and go to work. Okay. Now, here's the other thing. So let's say that you have your hourly rate. Now, let's say that in your day, right? Mike talked about this last week when he was on. He was talking about tracking your day. Every hour, write down what you did for the previous hour and see how efficient your day is. So here's the thing. If you wasted 1 hour a day, that's 210 hours a year. At 210 hours a year, multiply that by your hourly rate. How much money is that? Might be $15,000, $20,000. 1 hour a day of not being efficient, not being productive in your workday might be costing you $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 over the course of the year, just 1 hour a day. So you can see when you figure out your hourly rate, really the importance of being efficient. If you're going to work 8 hours, work the 8 hours. Now, if you're only going to work 6 hours, only work 6 hours. Be honest with yourself. But that's how much time it's costing you. That's how much money you're wasting by that 1 hour a day not doing your work, that 15 minutes that you're not doing your work. All that stuff costs money. So it's really important that you know your hourly rate. Now, here's where it can get fun. The next time one of your friends or family, because they don't think you have a real job as a real estate agent, okay? The next time one of them says, hey, we're now in the yellow tier, which means we can go down to the restaurant, sit down inside, have a drink and some lunch. You know, don't worry, just take the rest of the afternoon off. What do you say? You could say, you know what, that sounds wonderful. Now, but in order for me to do that, you're going to have to write me a check for $571. Okay, because that's how much money it costs me every day to go to work. So if you're going to take me out of work, you got to write me a check for this much money. Well, I don't want to write you a check for that much money. Okay, great. Then I'm going to go to work because I want that 571. I want that whatever your number is for your daily rate. So you can have some fun with some people. Oh, come on. It's beautiful outside. It's 85 degrees. Take the day off. Let's go for a drive. No problem. $570, $571. You give me 571. I'm yours for the day. No problem. So you can kind of have a little bit of fun with that. But it's very, very important that you figure out your hourly rate. Now, the next thing I put down here in figuring out your hourly rate, now you can see the cost of working with an unmotivated, unqualified lead. Now you can see the true cost of working with an unmotivated, unqualified lead. Give you an example. You call an expired, that's expired 3 times. They are probably not motivated to sell. But you say, I can do it. I'm going to get it. And you take the listing, you go, you do the work, you take the listing, and it's way overpriced, but you say, don't worry, I'm convinced eventually I can get them back down to the price they want. Okay. How much time goes into that? How much prospecting did you have to get for that listing? How many hours of preparation? Well, it took me 2 hours to prepare, put the CMA together, get all my numbers right. Okay, well, 2 hours times your hourly rate. What's that? $100, $200? Okay, you had to drive there. You had to do the presentation. What's that? Another hour and a half? $100? You have to input the listing. How many hours work of showings? How many hours of prospecting? How many hours of time with the seller? 10, 15, 20 hours for a listing that doesn't sell? Okay, well, now I've got 20 hours times my hourly rate. This is costing me real money in time. Because remember, that's why it's the most valuable asset. You can't get it back. You can make more money. You can't make more time. So if you don't know your hourly rate, you don't understand the value of the time, which is why we're more likely to waste it. We're more likely to take listings that are overpriced and are not going to sell. We're more likely to take a buyer that's not fully motivated or doesn't understand the marketplace and doesn't want to play the game and try to go show them property. It's very important that you understand this hourly rate thing and how much it's costing you. Okay. I've broken this down before. The cost of an expired listing, just based on basic numbers, the cost of an expired listing, when you calculate the time and the actual expenses, could cost you anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000, $15,000 in time and actual expenses. An expired listing. It's a lot of dough. Very, very important that you be honest with the client. I'm not going to go over the steps on how to do that because it takes too long. And for some people, it's not that relevant. But if you want me to, I'm more than happy to go over that with you, the cost of a bad listing. Okay, so now you figured out your hourly rate. So here's what I want you to write down next. How to prevent losing money on a deal. How to prevent losing money on a deal. All right, first thing I wrote down here, ask 100% of the pre-qualifying questions, 100% of the time. If you want to be more productive, if you want to be more profitable, ask all the pre-qualifying questions. Why is that important? One, because it will tell you if you need to go on this listing. That's number one. Two, it shortens your listing presentation time. And remember your hourly rate. How much time is that costing you? And three, gives you a better chance of getting the listing. So when you're going on a presentation, you're making that presentation more valuable. So asking 100% of the pre-qualifying questions. The second thing I wrote down is an honest CMA in every pre-listing package. An honest CMA. Well, what if they don't like the price? So if they don't like the price, at least you know, at least they've vented already instead of venting when you get there. And if they don't like the price because they're way overpriced, great. You just saved yourself a bunch of time. I said $850. They want $1,050,000. Now I don't have a listing presentation. You're welcome. What do you think you were going to do? Convince them that the $200,000 over that they were, they need to come down. Which brings me to point 3, commit to walking away from a listing that's too overpriced. Some of you do a wonderful job of that, by the way. Now, in today's market, you have to be a little flexible. If you think the listing is worth $900 and they want $925, $930, take the listing. You don't know. But if you think the listing's worth $900 and they want $1.1 million, that's too overpriced. Walk away. I know it's a crazy market, but you're not going to get $200,000 over. Walk away. Point 4, I wrote down every listing contract to be 6 months. Now, that's really more important on the higher end properties. Okay, because when you get to $2, $3 million, it's really important. If you can't sell a $600,000 listing in 6 months, you don't deserve a damn dollar. Okay, but don't do 1 month, 1 week contracts. I see those sometimes. Okay. The 5th thing I wrote down, you want to be more profitable, get your commission. Don't worry about anyone else's. How to prevent losing money on a deal, get your commission. Don't worry about everyone else's. Well, what does that mean? That means that I'm not charging 6% or 5% because now when they don't like it, I'm now negotiating down and I'm cutting my commission while I'm negotiating down. Well, 6%. I'm not paying 6%. I'm only going to pay 4%. Okay, 4%. I just cut my own commission on top of the buyer's commission. If you want to be more profitable, don't cut your commission. Get yours. That's why we do that script. I only charge this. All you have to do is decide what you want to pay the buyer's agent. You're losing money because you're cutting your commission when you cut the buyer's agent's commissions too. Stop doing that. Well, shouldn't the buyer's agent get the same amount as me? No. Any other questions? Sorry. I wish it were that way. I really do. Because when we represent buyers, I wish we would get more money. But I look at our numbers and I think it's a bunch of crap that we have buyers and we're getting paid 1.5% commission, 2% commission. And yet we're supposed to be the good people. We're supposed to take the higher ground and say, well, we'll be the only ones left that are paying the buyer's agents 50-50. We're getting our butts kicked on buyer commissions, and we're supposed to play fair? No, it's ridiculous. Get your money. Okay? Get your money. All right, so that's how to prevent losing money on a deal. The next thing I wrote down here, if you need to help bring the deal together, don't give away your money. Have everyone give away some money. How to become more profitable on a deal. Don't volunteer to give all your money. Have everyone put in a little bit of money. Here's what I mean. We've done this many times. You're trying to put a deal together, right? Based on inspections. You're in escrow. The inspections aren't working out. There's a request for repairs or something like that. And let's say you're $10,000 off. And the seller and the buyer are not budging. They're not budging off this $10,000. Rather than you saying, well, tell you what, I'll put in $5,000. I'll put in this. No. There's 4 parties to every transaction. There's 2 agents, a buyer and a seller. How about divide everything, whatever difference you are, divide it by 4, everyone pitch in. Hey, we're $10,000 off. Here's what I'd like to do. Assuming that there was no other option. Okay, there's cancellations being threatened. Here's what I'll do. I'll put in $2,500. You other agent put in $2,500. Seller, you come up $2,500. Seller, you come down $2,500. Buyer, you come up $2,500. We just made up the $10,000. Instead of putting in $5,000, $6,000, put in $2,500. Let everyone else participate. I think it's great that we have high morals, but sometimes it's costing us a lot of money because unfortunately we're in an industry where morals are really thin right now. Ethics are really thin. Standards are really thin. Why should we be punished? Why should we lose money? Because everyone else is incompetent, because everyone else is cheap, because no one else knows what they're doing. Don't do that. I know this is not nice, okay? But stop losing money trying to help other people out that should be pitching in a few bucks. Okay? Don't do that to yourself. We are in the for-profit business. Okay, so I wrote down here. Points on making your business more profitable. How to run a more profitable business, because keep in mind, you are running a business. So the first thing I wrote down here is run your business like a business. Run your business like a business. What do I mean? Well, here's the biggest question to ask yourself if you're running your business like a business. If you were employing yourself, would you keep yourself employed or would you fire yourself? That's the biggest question to know. Am I running a business successfully? Is to ask yourself, okay, if someone came in and was my employer, would they keep me or fire me? Most independent contractors would fire themselves. Now, many of you wouldn't fall into that category, but that's how you run it like a business. Okay. You have a set schedule. You have set hours. I start my day at this time. I go to lunch at this time. I end my day at this time. I get up. I do it all over again. I'm not here for the freedom and flexibility, which, as you know, are the 2 F words of real estate. You're running your business like a business. You have set tasks that you have to do every day. Remember, we listened to Eric Thomas on Friday, and he was talking about, when you're an entrepreneur, you have to set boundaries. His wife and his daughter know that the first 2 hours of the day, he's untouchable. Now, he's got that. Those are his really most important hours, the first 2 hours. For you, maybe it's the first 3, maybe it's the first 4. But you need to set boundaries to run your business like a business. That's how you become more profitable. You will only become more profitable when other people take you seriously. And make no mistake about it, other people don't take you seriously if you're taking their personal call at 10:30 in the morning. That is just a fact. They do not take you seriously as a salesperson, as a real estate agent, if you're taking their personal calls at 10:30 in the morning. unless it has to do with real estate. Okay. And I don't want to put anyone on blast here, but I hear, not today, but I've heard in the past some of the open mic, I'll listen sometimes and I'm going, what the hell's going on here? What kind of conversations are we having? It's not a real estate conversation. Run your business like a business. Okay. The second thing I wrote down here, okay, it's much more profitable to call people than to spend money hoping they call you. It's much more profitable to call people than to spend money hoping they call you. Now, you could spend money on, if you want to spend money on leads, whatever the case may be, but make sure you're running a profit and loss statement. How much are the leads costing you? How many leads are you getting? What's the return on your investment on these leads? And in some cases, it might work out really well. Hey, look, Kyle Seaboth in Rhode Island, his return on investment, he spends, he was one of the people we interviewed. He spends for his company, because he's got an office now, not just himself, but he spends $50,000 a month on Zillow leads for his office. Now his office takes that $600,000 cost and turns it into $2.5 million. That's a good return on investment. So I'm not saying that the buying the leads is completely out of the picture, but you have to run a profit and loss statement on that. Okay. But it's much more profitable to take the phone that you're paying for, if it's $100 a month or whatever the cost may be, and call people that are in that phone. Okay. The next thing I wrote down here on being more profitable, have a schedule and stick to a schedule. Okay, have a schedule and stick to a schedule. Now, one of the things I put down here, since my energy and motivation is highest in the morning, that is when I should do my most important and hardest task. Do your most important and hardest task, which are probably also your most profitable task in the morning, because that's typically when your energy and motivation is the highest. Because at 9 a.m., typically your energy is here. By 2 p.m., it's here. That's just human nature. So if at 9 a.m. I'm here and my hardest task is here, if I don't do it then, at 2 p.m., my energy's here, my hardest task is here. Which means I'm either A, not going to do it, or if I do it, it's going to be at very low quality. I wrote down also on the schedule, make sure you're doing the 4 Ps every single day if you want to be profitable. And what are the 4 Ps? Practice, preview, prospect, present. Practice, preview, prospect, present. Practice, preview, prospect, present. If you want to be profitable, you have to do the 4 Ps every single day. Because remember, profit is not a once in a while thing. To be profitable, you have to be consistent. So in order to be consistent, you have to do these things every day. You have to practice your scripts and objection handles. You have to preview property. If you can't preview in person because they won't allow it, do virtual previews. You have to prospect for business, and you have to present. I would challenge everybody to either do a live listing presentation every day or a role play listing presentation every day. Or worst case scenario, write out the listing presentation every day. But you have to do the 4 Ps every single day if you want to be profitable. Because if you don't do those every single day, you will only be productive every so often. And if you're productive every so often, there's no way for you to be profitable. It's about consistency. It's about consistency. Okay, the next point I wrote down here on being more profitable in your business. Always look for where you create the highest level of profit and do more of that. I know, I thought hard on that one. That was a I know. That was a tough one. Always look where you create the highest level of profit and do more of that. Also, look where you create the lowest level of profit and do less of that. So track your business, track your sources. Every time, you get a listing or every time you get a deal, what's the question that we always ask you? Oh, what was the source of that? Where did that come from? And then do more of that. Well, that was past clients. Oh, okay, great. How often are you calling your past clients? Not very often. Well, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Some of you get, 90% of your business from past client centers of influence and only spend 20% of your time prospecting that source. It's crazy to me. Well, we've done some numbers before. Yeah, well, I got some past client centers of influence and some just listed, just sold, and a couple signed calls. Okay, great. So past client centers of influence, just listed, just sold. Great. Sounds good. So let's look at your prospecting. So what do? Well, I make sure to hit the expireds first thing in the morning. Oh, fuck. God. Haven't closed one in 4 years. Make sure I do that in the morning. Nothing like a good butt kicking at 8 a.m. Really brightens my day. It's wild. Wild, some of these coaching calls that I have. All right, who do you call? Who do you call after expireds? Old expireds. Okay, great. Who do you call after that? Well, I call the new expireds the second time in case I didn't get a hold of them the first time. Okay. Are you going to call your database ever? Or, nope. Okay. Good chat. You gonna do more just listed, just sold calls? Nope. Okay. You guys are funny. Where do you get the highest level of profit? Do more of that. Where you get the lowest level of profit? Do less of that. Okay. Now, if you're one of the I don't know, 3 people in the state of California that closed more than 5 expireds in the last year or in the last 12 months, all right, then you can call some expireds. But if you're not one of the 3 people that closed more than 5 expireds in the last 12 months, and I'm not talking about someone that, well, I closed 10 expireds in 2013. Oh, no. Okay, stop. Just don't do that. You're not making any profit there. All right, next thing I wrote down here, stop looking for magic bullets. Stop looking for magic bullets. I wrote this down here. The least profitable thing you can do, is spending time trying to find ways to be profitable. The least profitable thing you can do is spending time trying to find ways to be profitable. There's no magic bullet out there. There's no magic pill. I joked about this last week. Okay. I joked about this last week that, Neil is really in the for-profit business. And the only way he turns a profit is if you make a profit. Therefore, if there were a magic way to make profit, he'd tell you. He'd let you know. Instead, he just tells you to get on the phone and prospect and learn your scripts and present at a really high level and things like that. That's what it is. You are in the talk to people business. No appointments, no money. Stop trying to find the magic ways to be profitable. You're just wasting time. And now that you know your hourly rate, you are wasting tons of money. Get on the phone. Okay, a couple more points here. I have like 30 points. We're not going to get through all of them. But I wrote down here, stop multitasking. Don't be upset at me. You're not any good at it. Some of you are doing that right now. Stop multitasking. You're not any good at it. Instead of doing one thing really good, you're doing two things. That's not going to help you. One of the reasons where we don't get as profitable as we want, we're not giving full energy on something that could be profitable. We're giving half energy on a couple things. It's like the old notion is that, I'd rather know a lot about one thing than a little about a lot of things. Bill Gates might not know anything about baseball, but he knows a lot about computers. That's worked out okay. All right. So stop multitasking. You're not any good at it. Whatever you're doing, whatever the one task you're doing at that particular time, go all in on it. Go all in on it. Okay, the next thing I wrote down here, a couple more points, then we'll wrap it up. Once a week, visit your money. Once a week, visit your money. Now, what you should have, you know how like with kids, you know, like you see like as the kids are growing, you kind of mark their head at the door to see them as they're getting taller and taller and taller and taller. You should have something like that for your account. I remember when you were just this big. And now you're just keep growing and growing and growing. And now look at you. You're like a fully functional account. Oh my gosh, this is so amazing. But you have to visit it. Anyone here other than me ever looked at their account one day and went, where does the money go? Well, I know there was money coming in. Where did it go? I've been hacked. Somebody hacked my account and took all the money because they know there was money coming in. I've been so guilty of that. And then you just look at the account and you're like, wait a second here. Where did all the money go? And you see all these little $8 charges and $12 charges and $5 charges, all these little things like, oh man, it's tough. But you have to visit your money. Okay, because again, you have to remember there's two ways to become profitable. You make more money and or you cut your expenses. And if you don't visit your money, you won't pay attention to the expenses and your money will be gone. You know, that's one of the benefits. I understand you don't get points for this. That's one of the benefits of carrying cash. Okay. I understand, you know, you don't get the credit points and things like that, the credit card points and all those other things. But the benefit of carrying cash is I know how much money I have on me. Because sometimes with the card, no, I don't know. You know, we just charge it up. Charge it up. All right. And then the last note I'll put down here because we have more and more stuff to go over. But this is probably one of the most important things you can do in terms of profitability is delegate. If you want to be more profitable, delegate. What I mean by that is this kind of goes where we were just talking about. To be really great at something, I can't be great at a lot of things. So here's a quote from Neil Weichel, okay, real estate agent up in Santa Clarita area. It's made, you know, like $60 million in commission or something like that. Okay, it's a quote from him. He says, as important as inspection negotiation, internet marketing, buyers, photography, and dozens of other things are, so I'll repeat again, as important as inspection negotiation, internet marketing, buyers, photography, and dozens of other things are, you don't do any of them if you don't list a lot of property. They are important, just not as important. And he continues to say, delegation is hard for some of us. Keep the main thing the main thing. Let others more qualified do the rest. So what he's saying here is, yes, photography is important. Yes, you know, inspections are important. Yes, internet marketing is important. All these things are important. But your job is to go find listings and let other people do the other stuff. Let someone else take the photos. Let someone else help you with the marketing. Let someone else do the title. Let someone else do the escrow. Let someone else, like your transaction coordinator, do the paperwork. Because none of these things are possible if you don't have listings. And if you spend your time doing all these other things, you don't get to go get as many listings. Delegation is one of the key things to profitability. Okay. You've heard me say this before. You're not a lender. You're not a title rep. You're not an escrow officer. You're not a transaction coordinator. Don't do their job. Let them do their job. They're going to charge you anyways. I have never yet seen an escrow officer or an escrow company say, hey, you know what? You did a lot of the work. We're going to cut our fee. Let them earn it. But delegation, I'm telling you, is one of the reasons you might not be as profitable as you want, and is one of the things that will really, really help you be more profitable. Delegate so you go back to just income generating activities, because without it, it doesn't matter about photographers or marketing or inspections or anything like that. Income generating activities. You have to delegate more stuff. It's hard. That's my big thing, to be honest with you. That's my big crutch. The delegation. But if you don't do it, you spend too much time working on the other stuff and it's not as profitable. All right. So look, I've got more and more points on this, but that's all we're going to go off of today. But if nothing else, go back to the beginning, really figure out your hourly rate so you can see how much time when you're spending on an unqualified or unmotivated buyer or seller, how much time you're spending on them, and then figure out your hourly rate to see how much that's actually costing you in time. Okay, it's a really, really big thing when it comes to profitability because we are in the for-profit business. All right, very good. All right, everybody.